And happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Champions League Talk, Episode 3, presented by Plug Talk Sports. My name is Danny Torres. It's great to have you guys here. Match day 3 in the books in the UEFA Champions League. Another exciting week of Champions League football. I, of course, was able to watch 3 matches throughout the week. Of course, 3 matches for me that interested me the most. We're going to get into that, but let's just go over right now how the table stands after match day 3. Then we'll get into the final scores of each match day 3 matchups, and then we'll talk about 3 different matchups that interested me. So nonetheless, let's get into the table. So in Group A with 9 points, leading the way is Bayern Munich. And in second place with 4 points is the Turkish club Galatasaray. In third place with only 3 points, Manchester United. And currently in last place of that group, just 1 point with that draw, is Copenhagen. So remember, guys, that teams 1 and 2 from each group will advance to the knockout stages to the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. So let's keep that in mind. We move on to Group B. In first place, 6 points. This is a close, tight race here in Group B. But in first place is the English team Arsenal with 6 points. And right behind them is the French club Lens with 5 points. In third place, we have Sevilla with 2 points. They're also tied in 2 points with the last place Dutch club PSV Eindhoven. We move to Group C. The Spanish giants Real Madrid with 9 points in first place. In second place with 6 points, just a win away from them is Napoli, the Italian club. In third place with just 3 points is the Portuguese team Braga. And then with 0 points, having a rough Champions League debut here is Union Berlin with 0 points. We move on to Group D. Spanish club Real Sociedad, 7 points, but they are tied in points, but they have the goal differential. With second place, Internazionale de Milano, Inter Milan, also with 7 points. Third place, Red Bull Salzburg, 3 points. And in last, this one comes as a surprise to me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. 0 points. They've struggled. They did very well last year, but this year is just big time struggle. It's the Portuguese team Benfica. Group E, in first place. A little bit of surprise here as well. 6 points. It is a very closely tight group here, Group E. Dutch club Feyenoord with 6 points. In second place is Atletico with 5 points. And then third place is Italian club Lazio with 4 points. So we got 6, 5, 4. Many things can change in that group. That group is wide open. Those 2 spots wide open for the taking. Last place with 1 point is Celtic. Then we go to the group of death. Group F, in first, 6 points, PSG. And then we go second place, tied on 4 points, but goal differential. We have Borussia Dortmund with 4. And third, Newcastle United with 4 points. And then this is I knew this was going to be a tough group to predict. But unfortunately for them, they're sitting in last place, which is 2 points. And they made it far to the semifinals of the Champions League last year. Talking about AC Milan with 2 points. Then we go to Group G. No question about it here. Leading the way is Manchester City with 9 points. In second place is Leipzig with 6 points. And then we got the Swiss team in third, Young Boys with 1 point. And then Red Bull Salzburg, Belgrade, Red Star Belgrade in fourth with 1 point as well. And then finally, the last group of the tournament is Group H. FC Barcelona leading the way with 9 points, and FC Porto in second, the Portuguese club, with 6 points. And then we got the Ukrainian club in third with 3 points, Shakhtar Donetsk. And Royal Antwerp in last, 0 points. Tough for their debuts. But let's get into match day 3. Braga, Real Madrid. Real Madrid taking the victory 2-1 with goals by Rodrigo in the 16th minute. And who can you call on? Who's been absolutely on fire for Los Blancos? Jude Bellingham making it 2-0 in the 61st minute. This guy is incredible. He is scoring every single match for Real Madrid. He is their star boy right now, their golden boy. And the last time someone did something like that for Real Madrid, his name is Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not saying Bellingham's Ronaldo. I'm just saying the last time someone did something like that, it was Cristiano. And Bellingham is just absolutely tearing it apart at Real. And that was proved to be a very good signing for Florentino Perez and the Spanish Giants. Braga did score. Alvaro Di Giallo in the 63rd minute made things interesting, but Madrid was able to hang on and to make it 3-3 in the Champions League. And they face Braga again next time out in match day 4. Moving on to the next matchup was Internazionale Milano against FC Salzburg. It was Alexis Sanchez in the 19th minute. And then in the 57th, Salzburg would tie it up 1-1 to make things interesting. And then a penalty in the 64th minute for Inter Milan is when they would take the lead and eventually win the game. And that gives them 3 points. And then we've got Galatasaray facing the German Giants, Bayern Munich. And this one started right away. Kingsley Coman in the 8th minute, making it 1-0. And then Icardi for Galatasaray would come back with a penalty in the 30th minute, make it 1-1. And then we jump into the second half, and it's the English captain, Harry Kane, 73rd minute, would put Bayern up 2-1. And then, of course, the man that is on transfer radar for big European clubs across the continent is Musiala in the 79th minute, would make it 3-1. And, of course, Kane will help Bayern extend their record, extend the UCL win streak for Bayern Munich, and they pick up the 3 points there. We move on to Real Sociedad and Benfica. Of course, I mentioned you guys how terrible Benfica is doing so far in this year's Champions League. Brais Mendes, 63rd minute, the only player to score in this matchup. And that puts Real Sociedad at the top of that group, and they leave Benfica winless. And we go on to Napoli against Union Berlin. Raspadori in the 65th minute gives Napoli the 1-0 win, and Union Berlin continues to struggle, and Napoli keeps things close in that group, just leaving them 3 points behind the leaders, Real Madrid. Then we move on to it was a very good matchup, Arsenal against Sevilla. Of course, Sevilla, new look, bring in the Spanish legend Sergio Ramos to the club. But it would be right before halftime, Gabriel Martinelli, 45+3, opening the scoring for the Gunners. And then it would be the 53rd minute in the second half. Gabriel Jesus would double the lead for Arsenal, putting 2-0. Sevilla would come back in the 58th, making it 2-1, leaving plenty of time to mount an equalizer or maybe even a comeback. But it wasn't enough for Sevilla, and it's a hard-earned victory for Arsenal, keeping them atop of their group. And then it brings us to Manchester United and Copenhagen. Manchester United really, really, really needed a win here if they want to keep anything alive in their Champions League hope. I mean, I still predict them to fall to Europa League, but they come away with a win in the 72nd minute. Harry Maguire, who, of course, has received so much criticism as a player, not even the Premier League, but the Champions League as well. He comes away with the lone goal to beat Copenhagen 1-0. Copenhagen did have a penalty, but Onana saves that penalty. Another player has come over criticism at Manchester United with a big penalty save and gives them the 3 points to sort of stay alive in their group. Then we got Lens, French club, against PSV Eindhoven, 65th minute goal and 54th minute goals from both clubs. They were both able to salvage just 1 point, split the points, and that ended in a 1-1 draw. And then we move on to Wednesday's matchups. Those were all Tuesday matchups. Wednesday's matchups, Feyenoord against Lazio. This was a shock as well. I think just an entire group with how well Feyenoord has been doing. Feyenoord, Santiago Jimenez has been on a tear for Feyenoord. He scored in the 31st and 74th minutes. Zerouki in the 45th minute. And, of course, Pedro on a penalty in the 83rd minute was Lazio's lone goal. But that brace from Jimenez is going to give Feyenoord the 3-1 victory and keeps them at the top of their group. This was a match that I watched. It was Barcelona against Shakhtar Donetsk. It was open scoring in the 28th minute, Ferran Torres. And then, of course, in the 36th, it was Fermin Lopez. Both great goals from Barcelona. Sudikov had something to say about it in the 62nd minute for Shakhtar Donetsk. And from there, Shakhtar really put on pressure, and they really could have found an equalizer, and they definitely had chances. But the Catalan club holds on and gets the 3 points, and they stay at the top of their group. Another tough matchup here. It was Celtic against Atletico. Started really quick in a 4th minute goal, followed by Antoine Griezmann in the 25th. Followed by Palma in the 28th for Celtic. That followed Alvaro Morata in the 53rd. Rodrigo de Paul, of course, the Argentine World Cup winner, gets a red card in the 82nd minute. But that's how things would stay. A 2-2 draw between Celtic and Atletico. Fortunately, Celtic couldn't hold off a 10-man Atletico Madrid. So Diego Simeone is probably going to be happy with that point. Then we go to Porto against Royal Antwerp. And poor Royal Antwerp, they just really haven't been able to get anything going in this year's Champions League. It's still a couple games to play, but really they have struggled big time. So they actually opened scoring in the 37th minute by Yusuf's goal. And then 46, 89, and 84 minute goals by Evanilson for Porto, and a 54th minute goal by Porto as well puts 4 on the board, making a 4-1 victory for Porto. And they keep pace with Barcelona in that group, just staying 3 points behind them as Porto is in second. Then this was a no-brainer. It was Manchester City against Young Boys. Of course, Haaland with a brace, 67th minute, and an 86th minute penalty. They get past Young Boys 3-1, and Haaland ends his goal drought in the Champions League with that brace. And, of course, they're at the top of their group. Then we go to PSG and AC Milan. This was a game that I watched as well. Mbappe opened the scoring in the 32nd minute, and Kolomuani in the 53rd, and Kangin in the 89th minute. Gives PSG a 3-0 victory over the Italian giants AC Milan. Of course, Milan only with 2 points. They're really struggling in this Champions League. And, of course, PSG, 2 wins, 0 losses, and 1 draw. They're the top of their group. And then we go to Newcastle United and Borussia Dortmund. This one right here was a very, very surprising result for me. I think you guys know that playing in England is absolute no joke. So Felix Mecha in the 45th minute would get the goal, and that is the lone goal for Borussia Dortmund that would get them the 3 points, 1-0. They did what they needed to. They got those 3 points, and they win in a very, very difficult place to play and to win at. So that was a very shocking result. And then, of course, we've got the last matchup of match day 3 was Leipzig against Red Star Belgrade. 12th minute goal, Xavi Simons in the 59th minute, and Dani Olmo, the Spanish international, in the 84th minute, and Stamanic in the 70th for Belgrade's 3-1 victory for Leipzig for the German team. Gives them 3 points, and they hold on to that second position in Group G. It's very close there as well. And of course, I mentioned to you guys the 3 matches that I watched was, of course, my favorite club, Real Madrid. I watched them play against Braga. Then I watched PSG and Milan, and then I watched Barcelona and Shakhtar Donetsk. Those were the 3 matches that I watched, and I would say if I had to pick the best game at a match day 3, very tough, but I would have to say that Dortmund and Newcastle game. Again, that is a game that I told you was a surprising result. I would have to say that is the best of match day 3. But looking forward to match day 4, beginning on Tuesday, November 7th. Once again, it was going to be a repeat of all the matchups. It'll be Shakhtar Donetsk against Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund against Newcastle, AC Milan against PSG, Manchester City against Young Boys, Lazio against Feyenoord, Porto against Antwerp, Red Star Belgrade against Leipzig, Atletico against Celtic, Real Madrid against Braga. This starts Wednesday, November 8th. Real Sociedad against Benfica, Napoli against Union Berlin, Bayern Munich against Galatasaray, Arsenal against Sevilla, Copenhagen against Manchester United, PSV against Lens, and FC Salzburg against Internazionale Milano. Those are your matchups for match day 4 in the UEFA Champions League. It's been pretty entertaining so far, but I know you guys want to be entertained. And for me, I look, group stages has proved to be some pretty good, tasty matchups, but I can't wait to get to the knockout stages and we can really start seeing some really high caliber matchups. Obviously, you know that group of death with Dortmund and Newcastle, Milan, and PSG is really providing some great matchups each match day. But of course, I love the knockout stages of the Champions League. It's my favorite part of the tournament. And again, if you ask me, we go back to episode 1, I think favorites for sure, Manchester City, the defending champions, of course. I can't count out my club, Real Madrid. They look good. And I think aside from those 2, I have to put the runner-ups, Internazionale Milano, in there, Inter Milan. I have to put them in there as well. But that concludes match day 3 for the UEFA Champions League. And I hope that you guys enjoyed episode number 3 of Champions League Talk. We went over the matchups. I told you which 3 you guys, or excuse me, the 3 that I watched. I told you guys which one was, I think, in my opinion, the best match from match day 3. I went over the table with you guys and went over the scores, and I previewed you guys match day 4 starting Tuesday, November 7th. But until then, we'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Champions League Talk presented by Plug Talk Sports. Once again, my name is Danny Torres. Make sure you keep it tuned to all of our social media for Plug Talk Sports on YouTube, Twitter or X, whatever you call it, Instagram, and TikTok as well. We appreciate you guys. And we'll see you next time, again, Tuesday, November 7th for Champions League football and for a brand new Plug Talk Sports episode on Monday night, which is going to be a all NFL trade deadline special. So you're not going to want to miss that 10 o'clock on Monday night. So again, thank you so much. And we hope that you guys enjoy.